Folks, this one's so easy, it's not even funny. There was a congressional hearing on Tuesday. I don't know when you're going to see this, but you'll see it in the next couple of days, in which Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, and John Ratcliffe, Director of National Intelligence, the head of the FBI, and the CIA director, sat before a U.S. Senate committee this week and lied to their faces over and over and over again. The subject was, of course, the infamous Houthi PC signal chat, in which classified material was discussed over the personal phones of members of the president's senior national security echelon. What was discussed in that has been reported widely. It included targeting information, it included war plans, it included the times in which attacks would be launched against Houthi weapon systems and individuals. It was done in the most irresponsible possible way imaginable. Now, look, I am often tough on the Democrats for saying that they're too weak and they beat around the bush too much. I have to give major props to Senator Warner, Senator Ossoff today in that hearing, who took the stick to these people. Others did as well, but they were the standouts. They asked repeatedly, if there's nothing classified in these signal chats, why don't you share them? Why won't you give them to the committee? Why won't you give them to the committee that has jurisdiction over your work? And the answer over and over again was, fuck you. Now, they said it a little more subtly than that, but the answer was, fuck you. John Ratcliffe said, oh, it wasn't a screw up at all. Tulsi Gabbard repeatedly fell back on a very, very, very lawyered excuse. Oh, it's under review by the National Security Council. No, it's not. That is a lie. She is lying. She is telling a lie. It is not under review by the National Security Council. That is a lie. I have this from someone inside the circle of people who are in the position to know that is a lie. All the National Security Council is doing right now is finding a way to cover it up. Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, we warned you from the beginning, was a sympathizer to Russia, is a traitor to this country. Stephen Witkoff, who was in Moscow while he was privately meeting with Vladimir Putin, accepting a beautiful oil painting of Donald Trump to take home, was on this signal chat in Moscow on his personal phone. Pete Hegseth, traveling. Tulsi Gabbard, traveling. These people are overseas, which raises the exposure level dramatically to foreign compromise of your devices. The contempt in which these people held the elected representatives of this country today in this hearing tells you everything. Ratcliffe was flippant, dismissive, almost as if he found this just an amusing inconvenience. Tulsi Gabbard, again, lied to the committee over and over and over and over today. Kash Patel, who is egregious as always, was less consequential in the hearings, although go back and watch some of his facial expressions during this hearing where he knows they're walking into legal territory they don't want to be in. Because say what you will about Patel, he is at least an attorney of some degree. But he sat there looking like he was like the victim of an alien butt plug invasion of some kind. He looked like he was about to jump out of his chair a couple of times. His eyes were popping out of his head because he knew what was happening. But what you saw today, I don't want to ever hear a goddamn word about Hillary Clinton's emails ever again in the history of ever. What you saw today were Gabbard and Ratcliffe displaying their absolute contempt for the American people, their contempt for America's troops who were put in danger by their reckless and irresponsible actions, their contempt for the truth, and both of them, all of them really, you could see the calculation behind their eyes. Every word coming out of their mouth, they knew was a lie, but they knew if they lied, Trump would reward them. They knew if they lied, Trump would protect them. They knew if they lied, Trump would pardon them. These people have committed criminal acts. It is quite obvious and apparent by now. The reason they are going to be on the enemies list is not only because they are criminals and violated the national security laws of this country, which, as they say, are written in blood, and that blood being the sacrifice of American men and women who have died when intelligence is compromised. They knew what they were doing. Tulsi Gabbard has always been a proximate danger to this country. Thanks, Susan Collins. Do you think she's learned her lesson now? But these people who sat there today, who were so cavalier and contemptuous about the danger in which their sloppy, unprofessional, illegal, dangerous, reckless decision to shoot the shit, my cat disapproves as well, to shoot the shit on a signal chat that is almost certainly at one point in the system compromised somewhere. And that information is almost certainly in the hands of Russia or Iran or China. To cavalierly sit there today puts them very, very high on my enemies list.